Hello, I'm into Tiger Talks, Tony, and joined by Fergus. Welcome to the show, man.
How you fucking doing?
Doing pretty well, thanks. How are you?
Doing good.
All right. So, of course, this is our fifth and final version of our Royal Rumble retrospective. Looking back at these past 7 Royal Rumbles today. Before we jump, Fergus, I will mention we're also live on Rumble at the moment. For the first time ever, live on Twitch. So see how things go, if that helps out the channel or not. Thank you. We are going to jump right into the action. Eddie is not with us today. He might jump into the comment section at points, but his wife is a little under the weather, so he just wanted to. We're all fine with that. We hope she feels better in quick time, that things go fine for them. All right. So these 7 special, of course, about them compared to the other Royal Rumbles. The fact that there wasn't just a match, of course. There was 2 Royal Rumble show. Because 20 of the women's Royal Rumble match, which we'll dive into in a moment, because that, of course, was the main event of. But to kick things, of course, they had a handicap match, as we see the good buddies, off and on buddies, of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn going up against the phenomenal AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. You would have thought it would have been a triple threat match, but who was the general manager of SmackDown at the time, to make this a handicap match between AJ. You would think, well, the odds are stacked against AJ Styles in that situation. However, AJ did manage to retain the WWE Championship when it was all said and done. Remember, that was a pretty good match to kick off that year's Royal Rumble. Also, the Usos beating Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin 2 straight falls in a team titles. SmackDown tag team titles. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So we Royal Rumble match. Aiden English comes. He's the number 1 entrant. He comes out, of course, to introduce Rusev Day. That's what it was. Rusev, the number 1 entrant, Royal Rumble debut as the number 2 entrant in the match. A lot of names, big names in this Royal Rumble. A lot of storylines, I felt like, that came out of it towards WrestleMania. You get the Rhinos, you get the Bear, Slater, Elias, Andrade. Was the NXT representative that year, one of the 2. Cruz, Shinsuke, of course, all those other guys that were in there. John Cena came out as the number 20 entrant. We've seen Matt Hardy actually eliminate himself in this, because he, number 13. he and Bray Wyatt were on the verge of their team, but they weren't a tag team yet. The Woken Party eliminated Bray Wyatt and himself during the match, leading into a tag team that we would get afterwards. It was a tag team nonetheless. Seth Rollins was in there, Miz, Ray, Roman Reigns, of course. Dolph Ziggler was the number 30. Normally, I'd skip ahead to the final four. I'm going to go final six because you got three old heads, I can say in a way, in Randy Orton and John Cena. Three guys that have been around a long time. The newer guys in Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, and who was the other one? And you get the standoff between those six guys. Unfortunately, yeah. Get the standoff between those six guys with Randy Orton actually getting eliminated by Roman Reigns. And where did 20 disappear to? Mysterio gets eliminated by Finn. An accidental elimination, I do. Balor gets eliminated by John Cena, leaving us down to the final three of Cena, Reigns, and Nakamura. I feel like at that point in time, most people probably figured Cena was the odds-on favorite to win, but that wouldn't be the case as he Nakamura, leaving us down to Reigns and Nakamura. And shockingly, Roman Reigns would get dumped over the top rope to the Nakamura won his debut Royal Rumble match after a little
God.
You say that because we all know in 2016 Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble, and fans, the big dog just was being shoved down our throats, of course, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of storylines that we can go over, though. The number 10 entrant for the second year in a row was supposed to be the perfect 10. Ty did get attacked backstage by KO and Sammy in his spot, and
Wait a minute.
What?
You mean Stan was going to be in the Rumble again?
Yes, he was. But also beside when he entered the match, well, I say when he entered the match, but he spent a lot of time outside getting in the ring. Heath Slater, number 5 entrant. The ring because he got attacked by Baron Corbin after Corbin had gotten eliminated. Andrade, Bray Wyatt, Big E, Sami Zayn, and Sheamus. So Slater did not spend much time. Technically only spent 33 seconds in ring. So he did eliminate one because Heath Slater did eliminate Sheamus. There was all of that. Now, when we talk about the Rumble and then go into WrestleMania, of course, won the Rumble, went on to have a match against AJ Styles at WrestleMania. It was a good match those two had at Mania. I still think they could have done better than what they did in any other matches they had against each other, though, when we know what they did against each other in Japan. Back in after the match, though, Shinsuke with the low blow, turning heel. I just felt like it was way too early to turn him heel on the main roster.
I feel like that whole build-up with Shinsuke made him seem like he's going to be this top guy in WWE. And then that match just made him look like a bust.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, Shinsuke, my wife's favorite wrestler. quotations.
Sure. Yeah, see, he does the Royal Rumble, for that matter. Interesting, different look for him, of course. We go from that. Then you got the Buyer Cesaro and Sheamus defeated Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan, as Cesaro, Sheamus, and Seth all did double duty here, back-to-back matches. Sheamus won the Raw Tag Team titles. Jordan kind of had a concussion spot. I want to say it wasn't long after this match. If maybe this was the match that caused it, the injury, and him to pretty much retire from in-ring action as well.
Which sucks because he had so much potential.
He did. I thought Chad Gable were a tag team as American Alpha, American Alpha. Tag team together for one, but always thought Jordan would have been the bigger star of the two guys, personally.
They were like
not to take anything away from Gable.
Right. They were like the Creed brothers, but almost more entertaining in a comedic way, but still made it look good.
Right. They were better than the Creed brothers in a way. All right. We go from that. You got the semi-main event as the Universal titles on line in a triple threat match. This is why you had the handicap match earlier, because you can't have both title matches be triple threats. Braun Strowman and Kane, of course, challenging the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar for the Universal title, which Brock Lesnar, of course, retains the title. Go ahead, John. I can tell you're dying to say something.
So I expected this to be an amazing match. I don't know why. I just did. With all the beef, all the history, all the muscles, I thought it was going to be an amazing match.
Right.
Oh my God. It was like watching Santino almost win an Elimination Chamber. Yeah, it was a train wreck.
It was kind of a train wreck. As mentioned, Brock wins in just under 11 minutes of title. We know he goes on to defend the Universal title against Roman Reigns at Mania that year. All that fun jazz. Then we dive in to the Women's Royal Rumble match. Oh, that's interesting. You get Alexa Bliss out there, the Raw Women's Champion at the time, SmackDown Women's Champion at the time, Charlotte Flair out there. And of course, Stephanie was the commissioner of Monday Night Raw and also was a big catalyst to get to the Women's Royal Rumble being a thing. And you kick off the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match with Sasha Banks, of course, entering number one. Fellow four horsewoman Becky Lynch from Friday Night SmackDown at the time.
The last kicker.
Yes, the last kicker at that point. I feel like it wasn't too surprising to see those two kick off that Royal Rumble match at the time. Though, I'm not going to go over all the entrants, of course. There wasn't that many couple in here. There was more legends, if you will, or Hall of Fame ladies there. How did you feel at the time these take up spots in the Royal Rumble match compared to seeing some of these newer NXT superstars in there?
Well, you see, I had a love-hate feeling because I love seeing all these women that I grew up watching wrestling and all that. But at the same time, it kind of sucked they were getting all the spots and not all this new talent to show off. That's going to be like the new wave of this evolution. Isn't even getting a shot. It's kind of stupid. It's almost like you took one step forward but three steps back.
So I felt like rewatching it, the eliminations wise, it seemed like more of the eliminations than anybody else did. I mean, Michelle McCool ended up with 5 eliminations, I think, in this match. So
Yeah. But I will say, Kelly looked the
that's not
same
taking,
exact. She did not change at all.
which is a little bit of a different story when she came into the Royal Rumble a couple years later. But
Mm-hmm.
I will agree. I felt like the older ladies that were coming back for the Rumble kind of took up too much of the spotlight. Loved seeing some of them. I felt like didn't really need to be in there, and the NXT women could have had better spots. Trish Stratus in the Royal Rumble, but
I feel like the 3 that actually deserve to be there. Well, I'll do 4 because Michelle McCool definitely. Lita,
yeah,
Trish Stratus, and Mickey James were 3 of the big of that 2000s era. Those 3 definitely in.
you leave out Lita.
I said Lita. So Lita first.
Say Lita, okay, my bad. I missed that then.
But
Yeah,
you should have had people like Vicky Guerrero in it.
I agree. And Vicky didn't need to be in there. It's nice to see Beth in there, even though she didn't last very long. That'll bring us down to the final 4. Actually, makes it to the final 4 with Asuka, of course, and the Bella twins. By the Bellas first after 4 minutes and 46 seconds in the Rumble. Then you get the shocker of, or maybe not a shocker, when what we had seen prior, of Nikki Bella actually eliminating her sister Asuka as the final 2. I'll get into that in a moment. Somebody by the name of Music says, "Hi, how are you? Doing good here. Thanks for the comments." Asuka and Nikki went at it for a little bit before Nikki gets eliminated by Asuka, for Asuka to be the first ever Royal Rumble match winner. I know Vince always high on Nikki Bella overall. Personally, I feel like the Bella twins in general were the wrong ones to have in the finals of this Royal Rumble match, though.
I agree with that.
But place of it, well, that's everybody seeing Trish Stratus be the last one eliminated by Asuka. That's me, but I'm a big Trish fan, so that's why.
I would have loved to see the final 4.
I would rather see Trish, Lita, Asuka.
I agree with Sasha being there. Of course, Oscar because of that big undefeated
Yeah,
streak she had. But I feel like you should have had. I can't believe I'm going to call the Bella twins legends, but 2 different legends, and those 2 should have been Trish Stratus and Mickey James. That should have been your final 4.
I'd have been fine with that. Mickey didn't
Almost
even
would have
get
been
any
like a
eliminations,
passing the torch to the new generation.
right? So then, mentioned that Asuka wins the match. Should have been different the way it ended, but here news coming out of the Royal Rumble match isn't who's, but the biggest news of the night was the WWE debut, of course, of Rowdy Ronda Rousey. I mean, looking back at then, but it didn't really do anything for WWE in the long run, personally, in my opinion.
But the thing was, you had Oscar had an amazing showing in the Rumble, keeping this undefeated streak alive, and then you killed it by bringing out Ronda.
Right. You have Asuka go to WrestleMania and lose to I mean, to me,
That's
that
some
just
grade
shows
A bullshit.
right. To me, that just showed the difference between man booking at the time. So, because Vince knew how to book Asuka, or sorry, Triple H knew how to book Asuka, Vince just never did. Decent Rumble for women, but I would definitely not say the best Women's Royal Rumble match out of these.
Oh no, I can think of 3 off the top of my head that are much better.
I'm sure you can. All right, let's move on to the 2019 Royal Rumble in Chase Field in Phoenix. Kick off the show, the woman who ended 2018's Royal Rumble, Asuka, defending the title against Becky Lynch and beating Becky with the Asuka lock. Asuka had won that SmackDown Women's title in the Triple Threat match at TLC the month prior, so it wasn't too big of a surprise right away. And then you got Mick become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champion. Ronda Rousey beat Sasha Banks to retain the Raw Women's Championship. And then we get to the Women's Royal Rumble match. You get Lacey Evans entrant. Yeah, I know. Boo. Yeah. And Natalia match. Oh, you boo now. You see how you are.
I'm not booing. Neutral. Not good or bad. Just there.
This one was much better of a Rumble, I feel like, because NXT and NXT UK superstars in there and didn't have all those legends or Hall of Famers in this time. I like it was a much better Royal Rumble match than the year prior, personally. You got Mandy Rose, Liv Morgan, Mickie James, Ember Moon came in at number 7. Nikki Cross, who along with Lacey wasn't technically part of any brand at that point in time. Peyton Royce, Tamina, Xia Li, Sarah Logan, etc. Charlotte. Alicia Fox makes her Royal Rumble debut in there. And it was just crazy how things went for Alicia Fox with her hat. Yeah. Mandy Rose gets eliminated kind of early on by Naomi and actually eliminates Naomi as well after time. You see that happen in a Women's Rumble. Got a whole lot to talk about WrestleMania. The number 28 entrant, of course, I'm going to jump right into Lana. Her music played. She came out, but of course, as she's limping her way down to the ring. And she's still trying to make her way when the number 29 entrant, Nia Jax, comes out. Lana in the entryway. Lana gets checked on by Fit Finley and some paramedics pretty much in the entryway. Had there in Arizona too. Carmella ends up being the number 30 entrant.
Yeah, they did.
Carmella ends up being the number 30 entrant, and after Carmella, they show Lana being checked on, and Becky Lynch comes out and tells Fit Finley, because the crowd's wanting Becky in the match anyways, tells Fit Finley to let her go in and replace Lana, and Fit ends up saying, go ahead, take the spot. Becky Lynch enters the Royal Rumble match, her second match of the night. Quite the interest as to what happens there. Of course, this was Rhea Ripley's debut as well. She came in at number 20.
It's funny you say that because I was watching this one earlier, and of course Julie's working from home, and all of a sudden she hears, "This is my brutality," and turns and sees a young Rhea Ripley that we first see. And it's amazing the transitions that happened since then.
Did love her for sure.
Yeah, you do. I jump ahead. The final four, you got Nia Jax, of course, Charlotte. Eliminated first by Nia and Charlotte, and then eliminated by Becky, which sends Nia off the deep end. Nia attacks Becky Lynch, and it looks pretty dire straight for Becky as she's left in there with Charlotte. Looks like Charlotte might actually win, but manages to turn things around on Charlotte, dumps the Queen out of the ring, and wins the 2019 Royal Rumble match. I enjoyed it the year prior. Becky got put through so many hoops from getting into this Royal Rumble all the way until WrestleMania that year. I feel like, even though it was eventually the first ever women's main event at WrestleMania.
And let me tell you, that match was amazing.
Oh, seriously?
Especially because I was a Becky Lynch fan, and that wonderful woman that I'm married to was a Ronda Rousey fan. So it was a good match.
Yeah, it was a great finish. I mean, Becky won Ronda, so. All right. Like I said, so many hoops to get to that triple threat, and Charlotte never should have been involved. It should have just been Becky versus Ronda, but it was what it was. 1 hour, 12 minutes that Royal Rumble went, which was longer of the two, surprisingly. So then we get Daniel Bryan to Styles to retain the WWE Championship. That's when Eric Rowan aligned with Daniel Bryan and helped him retain over AJ Styles.
So wasn't this one wasn't this the Rumble that was leading into Kofi Mania?
Yes. Yes. No, it was. Finn Balor's parents were sitting front row behind the commentators, as Finn was, of course, the challenger for Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar. Such a short match, 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Brock always lets these younger guys get good spots in, but of course, in the end, Brock Lesnar makes Finn Balor tap out to the Kimura lock. Brock Lesnar retains the I feel like, yes, he had great matches. Brock Lesnar did with Daniel Bryan at Survivor Series, but this is kind of too short, and Finn should have gotten a better than what he did, in my opinion. All right, then we men's Rumble. We kick off the men's Royal Rumble with Elias. And Elias, or at least it was until we get that old music from of, that's right, R E double T double J Jeff Jarrett. And it looked like we were going to get a concert of the two of them together to kick off the Royal Rumble. However, beats the crap out of Double J, ends up smashing the guitar over him in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Before Shinsuke Nakamura enters as the number 3 entrant. Definitely a different start to the Royal Rumble match are used to seeing. Let's put it that way. You got Jeff got eliminated first. You got Kurt Angle coming in at number 4, who had just come off of being. This was in his final run. We know what happened here. I still disagree with who Kurt Angle ended up facing that year, but even he does. But between him and Corbin, Angle only lasted 3 minutes and 15 seconds in this Rumble before eliminated by Shinsuke. So you get the 2 Hall of Famers both eliminated as the first 2 guys eliminated in the Royal Rumble match. So in the Royal Rumble for the first time, Jinder, Joe, Samoa Joe, Collins, Titus, etc. Kofi was in there, had his spot. Dean Ambrose was even in this. I want to say it was either his last or second to last.
What's his last?
NXT UK, the Bruiserweight done. You got Aleister Black's debut. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about him.
Yeah, because his last WrestleMania was when Seth beat Brock for the title.
Yeah, no, in 2019 he ended up leaving to go to AEW, so now his contract will be picked up. Bobby Lashley, the number 26 entrant, only lasted 13 seconds before getting eliminated by Seth. All right. 29 entrant Randy Orton. The number 30 entrant in the Women's Rumble was Carmella, and the number 30 entrant in the Raw and the Men's was supposed to be our challenge. Kind of earned them the right to be number 30. However, our Truth starts to make his way down to the ring, and he gets attacked from behind by Nia Jax, who then proceeds to enter as the number 30 entrant in the Men's Rumble. First and only time that a woman has competed in the same night. As the 4th woman ever to compete in the Men's Rumble. Mustafa Ali, who still to this day says that he was more than willing and happy to be the one to take that elimination from Nia, because nobody else that was in the Rumble at the time wanted to be eliminated by Nia Jax, but he had no issues with it. Seen on a podcast recently, he said that. After that, Nia Jax took quite the beating at the hands of Randy Orton. Super kick by Dolph, 619 by Ray, the coup de grace, if you will, for Randy Orton. All leading to Nia getting eliminated technically by Rey Mysterio, is who they say. So she did not last too long, 3 minutes and 9 seconds, and then got 24. Then Ray, of course, gets eliminated to the final 6. Out of the final 4. Randy Orton gets eliminated by Andrade, who had a good showing for himself here. Second Rumble. On Strowman, Andrade lasted 26 and a half minutes. So that's surprising. And Dolph Ziggler eliminated by Strowman, leaving us down to Rollins and Strowman. Braun was, of course, the monster of among men at that point in time. That's the monster now. And was coming off of a big year in 2018 in WWE. But in the end, it looked like he was going to eliminate Rollins. Actually got the upper hand. They fight out on the apron for a brief moment, and then Seth Braun Strowman, and that eliminates Braun Strowman. Seth Rollins wins the Royal Rumble match. To get the elimination was one of the more unique finishes to the Royal Rumble match. That, of course, leads Seth Rollins beating Brock Lesnar to win the Universal Championship to kick off WrestleMania that year.
That was awesome.
And our number 10, Rumble. I would say that was, my opinion, both Rumble matches in there. 2019 was better than 2018's Royal Rumble, even though we had that were newer to the company pretty much in 2018, just because of what happened on the outcomes of them and who I was involved in the Women's Rumble. Now we jump into 2020 Royal Rumble. And we kick off with a Falls Count Anywhere match at Maid Park, as you got King Corbin, going up against Roman Reigns, the big dog. I remember these two guys fought all over the arena, and of course, Ziggler got involved, helping out Corbin.
Yep.
And then the Usos get involved, and in the end, Roman ends up getting the spear and beating King Corbin. And then after that, we get the Women's Royal Rumble match. We kick off with Alexa Bliss herself being the number one entrant. And Bianca Belair, the EST of NXT, as the number 2 entrant. Our Mighty Molly returned, number 3 entrant, and she was in the first Royal Rumble match as well. You boo it? What for?
There was better options.
True. One of the only 2 Hall of Famers in this match, so their options. I mean, this is the Royal Rumble, that number 29 entrant.
Santina.
That's what I said. Santina. You could have had a better person in there than it. All right. Go back to the comments before I get into this too far. Eddie says, hi, my name is William. I've been a fan for an entire year. You guys are awesome. Thanks, William. But anyways, Tina is in there from NXT at that point in time. You got Toni Storm in this Royal Rumble. Kelly was in there again. Natty Xia Li, Shayna Baszler, the number 30 entrant. A pretty decent amount of time. Alexa went 26 minutes, 34 seconds with 4 eliminations. Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler, of course, both made history in this Royal Rumble as eliminations in a single Royal Rumble match. That still holds to this day, as they both had 8 eliminations in the match. All for naught, because neither one of them won the match, but still, over half the field. What?
They both got 8. They were both eliminated by Charlotte Flair.
Yep. They were. Of course, there's only one other person who's gotten 8 eliminations in a Rumble match, but we'll get to that when we get to that Rumble in a few minutes. The final 4, you got Charlotte Flair, Beth Phoenix, the Glamazon, the Holly, Shayna Baszler, and Natalya. Natalya quite often in this match. Beth actually got busted open in this match. Was leading quite a bit. And in the end, Natalya tried to turn on Natty and eliminated Natty. And then Beth Phoenix got eliminated by Shayna Baszler before eliminated by the winner of the Royal Rumble, Charlotte Flair. You and I were just talking about that before we went. Who, and neither one of us are huge Charlotte Flair fans, I think it's easy to say. But who would have been about that year's Women's Royal Rumble in your opinion? I mean, this is coming off, and Shayna Baszler and Bianca both had great runs. Of course, Survivor Series, a couple months later, and NXT looked great in Survivor Series. Is this when they should have had somebody from NXT win the Royal Rumble? Better person besides Charlotte to win this match. They should have won this match.
Did you and I do a prediction show for this Rumble?
I think we may have, maybe. I don't think it was on here, but I won't switch to it.
Well, I remember us doing one, and I stick by what I said who should have won. And that is entry number 30, the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. Who's just coming off Survivor Series, that showing she was meant to do great things. And once again, Vince McMahon botched the shit out of her.
Right. I would agree. I mean, beating Bayley and I think at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beats those two at Survivor Series, and she looks red hot. I mean, I could be wrong. She either was being at this point in the Rumble, or she had dropped it maybe not too long prior. The way she was booked to get those 8 eliminations, I agree. Shayna's the one that should have won. I mean, the title that was defended at WrestleMania anyways.
Yeah.
For Charlotte. So why not give it to Shayna?
Still can't believe they had these.
We'll talk more later about what happened in 2020 after this Rumble, but Charlotte ends up winning because Charlotte Flair and Vince has always been a big Flair fan anyway. Bayley beats the Fiend. Bray Wyatt defeats Daniel Bryan. Match. I remember that match, Daniel, because of course after this match is when Bray Wyatt had pulled the hair supposedly out of the head of Daniel Bryan, so we get the short hair Bryan again for this match. And a phenomenal strap match these two guys had, no pun intended towards AJ Styles, but in the end, of course, the Fiend with I felt like, in my opinion, that was probably one of, if not the best, in that run as Universal Champion.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. Yeah.
From there, of course, you got Becky Lynch defeating Asuka with Kairi Sane to retain the Raw Women's title before we go into the Royal Rumble match itself. So, 2020 Royal Rumble match. The WWE Champion, Brock Lesnar, and the number 2 entrant is Elias. And Elias comes out there talking all kind of shit, and Brock eventually throws him into the ring and tosses him. You and I both know this happened with this Royal Rumble. Would go on to eliminate 13 men in a row to kick off this Rumble match. I still rewatching it back the other day. The reaction he had to Keith Lee.
That was
Keith Lee
beautiful.
Right. Keith Lee should have gotten such a better run in WWE.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his exact words to Paul Heyman is, "Who the fuck is this?"
Something along those lines. One big guy, one big dude, something like that. Big boy.
Yeah.
It's like, man. Braun Strowman going at it, and Brock Lesnar, and Brock eventually dumping both of them out of the ring, of course. Benjamin coming out there and looked like they were going to reunite the team, only for Brock to stab him in the back and toss him out of the ring, of course. VP before Keith Lee comes out, but didn't last very long in there with the Beast, as nobody seemed to for the most part. I will say New Day and part of the New Day had a decent outing with Brock for a moment until they all got dumped out. It looked like they might have actually. Kofi tried getting a little bit of revenge. Hey, he lasted longer in this match against Brock than what he did in the SmackDown on Fox debut, where he lost the WWE title to Brock. So that's a plus, I guess. That brings us to the number 15 entrant, of course, Ricochet. Actually manages to stay in there long enough until number 16 comes, the Scottish Warrior, Scottish Psychopath, whatever you want to call him, out there. We get stared on between him and Brock. There, Claymore, out goes the Beast Incarnate, eliminated by Drew McIntyre. The tale of two stories is Brock, as mentioned, dominated the first half of the Rumble. Then Drew comes in there, takes him out, and then we more of what you would normally match instead of one guy dominating the entire match. Later, after Drew's in there, we get to the number 21 spot, and we get the return of the rated R superstar himself. I'll admit, even still, rewatching it now kind of gives me goosebumps and chills a little bit. Just seeing Edge finally, after all those years, be able to, and you could see the emotion on his reaction of the crowd. One of the greatest Royal Rumble returns in the history of the Royal Rumble, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there might be a few down the line that, if they do happen, might rival it, but we all know the story back in 2010
Right.
when Edge had to give up, and for him to come back a decade later.
2011.
So when we come back a decade later and just have that return, people heard it might happen, but no one believed it because of how long it's been. And just when they finally make that return, it was all everyone could talk about from that Rumble.
Right.
And then Monday Night Raw happened.
That's yeah, right.
Randy Orton.
Edge looked great. Randy Orton even mentioned how well Edge looked, how great Edge looked. Seth Rollins, we eventually get to the number 30 entrant, Seth Rollins. Edge knew about the match. We got to see the double RKO from Rated R. But when you get to the final four, Orton tried to eliminate Edge, though, as the Viper strike didn't work out too well for him in the Rated R Super. However, off of that, Roman would dump out Edge, ending the fairy tale ending, if you will, for the return for Edge. Yes, a double boo. Oh, not long after, get eliminated by the winner, Drew McIntyre. So, personally, for me, this was a good Royal Rumble match, but they kind of just fed all those 13 guys off the show. I felt like it shouldn't have been a one goal pretty much to kick off the first half of the Rumble.
It was like 2011 all
And
over again.
Brock, right? Brock with Braun Strowman for a record that sits to this day with the most eliminations in a Royal Rumble match, which is 13. Braun had the record for 13, but his was, of course, so I don't count that personally. That's a little different. But I did like Drew McIntyre winning. I felt like it was a Rumble match and led to his first ever WWE Championship match. Of course, Akam and Razor came out and were helping out Seth at points because Joe and Kevin Owens both come in Razor helping out with that, and Murphy as well, I believe. So, because that was a whole Seth was the visionary and starting all the new stuff for Seth Rollins. So, I enjoyed seeing Drew win. Of course, what we got going into WrestleMania was a so. Unfortunately, Drew at WrestleMania, but there was nobody there to watch that moment happen as Drew McIntyre beat championship, which sucks for Drew, and he's never really gotten that moment that he should have gotten that year. But it's still great that he got to be WWE champion, and he did a lot for the company and for the fans while we were going through that whole coronavirus. Which, of course, also to mention that brings us to one Royal Rumble. No fans in the crowd again. I should say not again. But you get the Thunderdome, so you got people on the screens and they're using all this, all that stuff. Things just weren't the same. Let's put it that way. If anybody didn't watch back then. Whoops. Kick off the show with Drew McIntyre beating Goldberg in 2 minutes and 33 seconds to retain the WWE Championship. Why Goldberg was really a factor, I'm not exactly sure, but he was. But Sasha Banks beat Carmella with Reginald to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship with the Banks statement. And then we go into the Women's Royal Rumble match. And here we got Bayley at number 2. We'll get into that more later. Of course, this is off of Bayley's longest SmackDown Championship, Women's Championship reign. Bianca Belair is number 3. The number 4 entrant, she spent a lot of time at the ring on commentary because she kept trying to get people picture and to join up with her and be a tag team in the Royal Rumble match. Shotzi would come out at number 5, be the first one for Billie Kay to try to talk into teaming up with her. A missile or whatever you want to call it out of her. Billie Kay. I miss seeing the TCB tank personally, but this Rumble was kind of lackluster and might have even been worse than the first Women's Royal Rumble match. No offense, but I mean, we had Leon Hall in here. It was nice to see. You could tell she wasn't in the greatest of ring shape. Rhea again, Charlotte in there, Dana. We got Tori Wilson and Alicia Fox both in there. That did. We got Ember Moon. That was decent, but we get down to it.
Tegan Knox.
Yep. Tegan in there? No, I think you were thinking the year later because Tegan's not listed in here.
Okay, my bad.
Tony Storm, but not Tegan. Get to the final four, of course, Bianca, Natalya, Rhea, and Charlotte. Natty gets eliminated first by Bianca. Rhea and Bianca managed to team up and eliminate Charlotte Flair. Thankfully, because we didn't want Charlotte winning again. Brought us down to the two ladies who we haven't seen face off one-on-one, really. Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Which was a really good at the Women's Rumble. Rhea had been in there since number 14, Charlotte 15, of course, Bianca. Leading into those two had a good final two, but Rhea was eliminated by Bianca Belair to main event WrestleMania Night 1, of course, and beat Sasha Banks to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. So, a really good outing for 6 minutes and 49 seconds. We got 4 eliminations in that match. And I had this discussion with you and Eddie last time. I still say call Mr. Royal Rumble because Kevin Owens would be in the next man standing match for the Universal Championship, as it was KO and Roman Reigns. Kevin's standing match, I mean, he had Roman Reigns handcuffed and down for the count. But as the referee got to 9, Roman grabbed that beam, knocking the referee out to stop the 10 count. And from there, Roman goes on.
At one point, run
to
Roman Reigns over with a golf cart.
I believe so, yeah. It was incredible, some of the things that did in that last match, but in the end, Roman, with help from Paul Heyman, and retains the Universal Championship. I still to this day say KO should have won that match.
Oh, 100%.
The main event, the Men's Royal Rumble, you got Edge and Randy Orton. It's the number 1 and number 2 entrance a year later. The fun part of this was they would be the first 2 in, they'd be the last 2 in, but Randy spent a lot of the time in this match outside of the ring, back in the we get a Carlito return here after.
I called that one when we did the prediction show. Just want to point it out.
Yes, you did. I remember that. Kane would be a pump. As we were watching this the other night, I cannot believe how out of shape Kane was, though, in this Royal Rumble appearance. I was like, man, Kane should not have been in the Rumble match because you could tell he was not in that good a shape anymore. Of course, we got the return of Christian as well, as we got Edge and Christian reunited for a bit. To Christian would eventually gets eliminated by Edge. Edge thinks he's won it at that point. Randy comes in, tries to eliminate, only for Edge to turn it around, dump Orton out, as Edge becomes just the third person at that point in time to enter number 1 and win the Royal Rumble match. Only the second time in the history that the first 2 entrants are the last 2 entrants in the Royal Rumble. Third.
Yeah, I must say, don't forget about 99.
No, I was forgetting. That was the third time because the first one was Davey Boy and Shawn.
Yep.
And then I just drew a blank. Who was I thinking? It was the second. Stone Cold and Vince.
Yeah, 99.
Yeah, 99. And then Edge and Orton were number 3. The third. third and last time. Yeah.
For the men's.
Yeah. And of course, I skipped over it, but of course, during the Women's Royal Rumble match, R-Truth did come out during part of it, thinking and he was also the 24/7 champion at the time, and got pinned by. And then after Foxy got eliminated, she'd get pinned by R-Truth for Truth to win it back, and the other people, of course, chasing after Truth. All those shenanigans that we all wish we could forget about. Was out there with AJ Styles and Omos, got a couple of eliminations from outside the ring. But I'm not sure if it was just the fact that there was no fans there or what, but I feel like 2021 was probably the worst Royal Rumble, if not one of the worst Royal Rumbles in this set anyways, the 7 that we're talking. Yeah, I ain't toast, but still wasn't that great. All right. So then we return to St. Louis, Missouri for and it came Roman Reigns coming out to defend the championship. Usos banned from ring. His opponent, well, Roman's in a Sierra Hotel, India Echo, Lima Delta, the Shield. Seth freaking Reigns using the Shield entrance, coming out to the Shield music, doing all that fun jazz. This was the first time. Go ahead.
We also got a few episodes on Raw before this. Mr. Rollins, you're pissing off your tribal chief. No, me?
Nah. Seth, he would never do that. He's not a joker at all.
Never.
But this would be the Roman's reign and Universal Champion that he would actually lose the match. And Seth Rollins technically won by disqualification. So there was that. Of course, that also would play into Roman eventually losing the title later, but we'll get into that later. All right. After that match, we go into the Women's Royal Rumble with the boss, Sasha Banks, and the returning Melina. It was nice to see the splits. I was watching it again not that long ago. However, Sasha Banks did not much time eliminating Melina from this Royal Rumble match. 53 seconds in. Number 4 entrant was Kelly Kelly. This is where I was talking earlier. The same in the first Women's Royal Rumble, but in this Women's Royal Rumble, the same. You could tell she had some surgery before that. But I digress.
Yeah, but she could still go as she always could.
Yes, her face, you just could tell, was different. In this match, you get Mighty Molly in there again. Attacked by Nikki ASH right away, and didn't last very long in the match before Nikki ASH eliminated her. That we would see the Impact Women's Knockout Champion in the Royal Rumble match because Mickie James representing
country
Impact. Indeed.
You even got
we would get the Bella Twins in there again.
And with Mickie James, you also got the Hardcore Country TNA entry song.
Yes. There's some things you could take out of this. I mean, Cameron came in at number 13. Didn't last very long before Sonya Deville eliminated her because Sonya had her issues with Naomi. Naomi would eliminate Sonya, but then would get eliminated by Sonya as well. This is where you see Carmella with her face mask that she in this match. She'd get eliminated by Rhea Ripley after she fought him outside the ring. Mickey lasted 11 minutes and 40 seconds before being eliminated by Lita. We get down to the final four. You got Shayna Baszler, Charlotte Flair, Bianca returning Ronda Rousey. Shayna gets eliminated by, and then Bianca gets eliminated by Charlotte, leaving us with Flair and Ronda Rousey as the final two. They might actually go at it. Ronda does her whole crap in the corner, like she's hyping herself up or whatever, and then Charlotte charges towards Ronda, and Ronda dumps her out to win the Royal Rumble match. The crowd, I would say, was kind of split on Ronda Rousey. I mean, it seemed like they gave her a good, but you could tell Ronda was still trying to play the badass, if you will, at the fans because of the fans booing her when her last match against the Raw Women's Champion and all that crap. But I mean, they could have went a different way instead of having Ronda Rousey. Trying to get why they did have Ronda win it.
Yeah, they could have had Shayna win it. They could have had Bianca get the second one.
Right.
Pretty much, they could have done anything different as long as Charlotte didn't win.
Right. Of course, we get Ronda versus Charlotte at Mania anyway, so. Anywho, you go from there to Becky Lynch beating Doudrop to gain the Raw Women's title. Bobby Lashley, with a little help, defeats Brock the championship thanks to Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Here's Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, but Vince just seemed to shit things up, if you will. He just had to book those two in a good match once we did get Brock versus Bobby. And we should have gotten a better match than what we did between those two. In my opinion, anyway. Edge and Beth Phoenix tag match, and then you go into the men's Rumble. So much shenanigans in this men's Royal Rumble match. AJ Styles, the number one entrant, Shinsuke Nakamura, the number two entrant, of kind of a rematch from WrestleMania a couple years prior to kick off the Rumble match. You get the Rumble debut of Theory in there. You got Glorious Robert Roode in there. Rich Holland, Montez Ford, Priest, Sami Zayn. The celebrity, Johnny Knoxville. This all leads to Knoxville versus Zayn at WrestleMania. Dawkins and Omos. Knoxville did get eliminated by Sami Zayn in here before AJ eliminated him. Looked really good in there because he's a big man. He eliminated 3 people before it took 8 men to eliminate him. Or not 8, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men to eliminate Omos. Corbin and Madcap Moss. Drew McIntyre makes his return after being out of action for a few months. Gets revenge on Moss and Corbin. This was the first botch from Kofi Kingston's role. After missing the year prior. He botched the next year too, and then didn't have next year. So, also we get another celebrity in this Royal Rumble as you get Bad Bunny at the number 27 entry. Shane makes his Rumble match debut, I believe. this is the only time he's been in the Rumble, technically, as a competitor. Number 28, number 29, and of course the number 30 entrant, the man who would go on to win the Royal Rumble. Get for a Final Four, you get Shane McMahon, Riddle, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar. Brock dumps Orton, of course, before that, and then Riddle and Bad Bunny. And this just wasn't a good Royal Rumble match. Let's put it that way. To Brock versus Roman to unify the two titles at WrestleMania. They could have went any other way instead of just having Brock Lesnar come out there at number 30 and win the match.
Wasn't it originally supposed to be Riddle winning this, and they changed it on the fly?
I believe so. I don't remember why exactly Riddle, but I think he was one of the original persons that was supposed to win.
Because I think they wanted to see the Riddle-Lesnar match. I think those two could have had an interesting match.
Yeah, it could have been. But
because of the cage fighting.
Interesting to see Brock and right. And it wasn't that great of a Royal Rumble. Let's put it that way, even the whole show, personally.
It sucked.
Yeah, pretty much. So then we move on to 2023's Royal Rumble.
Yep, time to break my heart.
Oh, boo. Get over it.
Bullshit.
We kick off with the men's Royal Rumble match. And the match starts off, number one, of course, the Intercontinental Champion, the Ring General himself, Gunther. And number I just rewatched this one yesterday, the day before, whichever. A great Royal Rumble match, in my opinion. And I know you didn't feel the same way about the women's match, but we'll get to that when we get to the main event. Surprisingly, early on this, I mean, Kofi botched his spot again. He knocked him off the apron right into the chair, but yeah, he knocked his head onto the announce table and ended up falling off the chair. You never see him actually fully fall and hit both feet on the floor, but you know that he did because he pretty much was concussed.
Yeah.
First was when Bobby Lashley comes out there, Brock Lesnar pretty much immediately from the, to the surprise of many, because Brock got 3 quick eliminations when he came in there, but Bobby Lashley, that was his only elimination, but he got rid of Brock in quite quick fashion before Rollins would eliminate Lashley eventually. It was nice to see Booker T get, well, it was the last time he's been in the Rumble, but nice to see him get a brief little spot in there. But again, I've mentioned this before, I'll say it again, since this was his last spot. Booker's got to learn Spin-a-Rooney in a Royal Rumble match. Because every time he does a Spin-a-Rooney, he gets his ass dumped out of the Rumble. That was the same case in this match.
Yep.
Because the Ring General dumped him out of the ring. You had the Judgment Day in there as the number 24 entrant, guns a-blazing, and eliminates Priest and pull him out when it looked like he was going to get Dom out as well. Those 3 guys fight up to the entryway. Rhea Ripley comes out and attacks Edge, only to hit a spear on Rhea Ripley to end the brawl between them on the entranceway. So we go towards the end of the match. Braun Strowman gets eliminated by Cody. We get, I'm sure you know which spot I'm talking about, between Ricochet and Logan Paul. Both on opposite sides of the ring. Both leap off the top rope. It's a double crossbody, a double clothesline, whichever one you want to call it. But it sounded like a gunshot going off as they. And they would mention it last year because Ricochet's not in the company. But that spot has so many viral views on all of social media. The most viewed, like 20 million views or something like that, just for that one spot across all social media. So that kind of tells you
still
something.
One of the best moments of all Rumbles.
Yes, it is. It kind of tells you the popularity of Logan Paul, in my opinion, to get that many views. But we get towards the end of the match. Your final four: Cody, Gunther, Logan Paul, and Seth freaking Rollins. Actually gets eliminated by Logan Paul because they thought Logan had been eliminated, wasn't paying attention, and Logan comes in and sneaks in out of there. Because there was Ricochet. Was Theory in there as well, because Theory got eliminated, Jeff did, by Cody. That, of course, led to Seth and Logan Paul. Logan would get the upper hand on Cody, or so he thought, before eating a crossroads and getting his ass dumped out by Cody Rhodes, leaving us with the Ring General and the American Nightmare as the final two. I will say they gave those two guys, I mean, Gunther had been in this match for damn near an hour, and Cody and Gunther went at it minutes at least as the final two. In the end,
kind of
Cody,
like
of course,
2007 all over again.
Yeah. Between Taker and Shawn. Almost as good. Yep. But Gunther, much more incredible appearance. Got a new all-time record for time in a Rumble. 1 hour, 11 minutes, and before getting eliminated by the American Nightmare. So it's a new record for longest time spent in a match. In a traditional Royal Rumble match, let's put it that way. Because Bryan does have longer in the greatest Royal Rumble.
Well, that's what happens when you enter number one, when there's 50 people in the match.
Right? Because he went an hour and 16 minutes and 5 seconds in that match. Mysterio was supposed to be out there as entrant. He never showed up. He was legitimately injured. Higher storyline wise, they just claimed that Dominic and Judgment Day attacked him, so that's why he never showed up. Really, they should have just had somebody else take that spot since they knew Ray was injured anyways, but I digress. Cody and Roman at that year's WrestleMania, Roman with help from Solo retained the Universal title. Then after that Rumble match, we get the Mountain Dew Pitch Black. Yeah, we get the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match as LA Knight loses to Bray Wyatt. I was watching that again. It's to know now that was the last televised match for Bray Wyatt. Could have been better, but for both guys, it was unique. Let's put it that way, and everything that happened afterwards a little more relevant, I guess. So
it still boggles me that LA Knight was the last televised match, and it's fun. It just bothers me after Bray passed, the push and how all the fans and all that got behind LA Knight because of the one about him coming out into the ring and saying pretty much saying we never saw eye to eye, but it's the fans that made Bray what Bray was, and just like knowing that he was grateful to be a part of it, even though he wasn't really liked by people, turning into this baby face that
Right.
everyone loved.
Right. Yeah, I'd say LA Knights kind of ran with it ever since. So, been over. But I guess you could thank Bray Wyatt for that in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah.
yeah. After that, you got Bianca Belair the Raw Women's title. Before you go into the Women's Royal Rumble match, yes, I know you're heartbroken because of what happened at the end of it, but get over it.
Don't
Cry
you
about
start,
it.
Tony.
How about that? She's not winning the Rumble this year.
No shit, she ain't winning the Rumble this year.
We'll be lucky if she's even in the Final Four. Oh. Um,
If she makes it to the Final Four in this stacked card that we're going to get in the Women's Rumble, I will be fucking amazed.
right? I mean, she has been the runner-up.
She wasn't supposed to be last year.
Right. But she still was. Anyway, we kick off the Women's Royal Rumble with Ripley, number 1, injured and all. And number 2 was Liv Morgan. Interesting, too, to start the match.
They have at least had Rhea come out at third. They could have had Rhea come out third and let Liv be the Iron Woman. That's all I'm saying.
She was one of the
predicted in our prediction show. I get that, but but it doesn't count because she didn't win it. But I predicted that Liv was going to be the Iron Woman, and they had to let Rhea come out at number 1. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well. Damage Control had good spots in this match. And Io and Dakota at that point in time. Roxanne Perez was in there making her debut. Zoe Stark made her debut in the Rumble. Becky didn't last very long in the 15, was the 12th one eliminated by Bayley. She had a couple eliminations before that, eliminating Dakota and Io, but her rival Damage Control at the time kind of cost her in the long run. Asuka, of course, a big story as well here because she made her return to quite the ovation from the crowd. This was Don the mask and the new face paint as well. And
when she did the Cold Kana thing.
Yeah. Piper Niven was in there, and of course the announcers, Nicole, Corey Graves, and Pat McAfee, who made his return to WWE that night to much Corey Graves' chagrin. I was not happy, and Cole was. They all just have to put in their digs about Piper Niven being called Piper Niven and not Dewdrop anymore, and had to keep the match in different ways. Mentioning Piper doing drops and I do. Chelsea Green, of course, in this Rumble match, the distinction of being tied with one other person for the shortest time in a women's Rumble, which got eliminated in 5 seconds by Rhea. Kind of did the Bushwhacker Luke thing in this match because Chelsea got in the ring, threw her from one end up out the other end. Kind of like Bushwhacker Luke had happened to him.
You want to know what? I'm going to regret asking you this because I'm sure I know the answer. I'm sure I know the answer to this. But who's the other woman to get eliminated in 5 seconds?
It happened last year. You can find out
There
by
was one
picking who
before
it
that.
was because it was Valhalla. No. Valhalla last year got eliminated in 5 seconds.
What about the one year when Liv Morgan came in at 4 when she saw the Riot Squad? Literally ran in Italia and got flipped over.
She lasted longer than 5 seconds. I don't remember how long. I'd have to look back at it, but it was longer than 5 seconds.
I take my finger back then.
But she did have one of the shortest times in a Rumble match, so I can test these. We get down to number 30 entrant. Of course, that was Nia. It was a one-off that night, but we'll get into more on that. It took 11 women.
Botched that so bad.
Yeah. It took 11 women to eliminate Nia Jax from the Rumble. All other 11 women that were in there. Michelle McCool, 5 entrant, but Michelle was sitting ringside for this Royal Rumble event, and her music hit, and she acted like she didn't even know what she was. What acted surprised, even though she had track pants, track shirt, and track jacket, if you will. The decent showing in there for almost 14 minutes with a couple of eliminations, even though she supposedly played off. She was even in the Rumble. But yes, in the end, it came down to Asuka, Liv, and Rhea on the apron. Asuka spits the miss. Rhea knocks out Asuka. First time ever Asuka had been eliminated from a Royal Rumble match because she won the only other women's Royal Rumble match she was in. And then to eliminate Rhea, but Rhea used her legs to do a head and take Liv Morgan off the apron to win the women. Much to John's chagrin. Ripley would go on to WrestleMania to the SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yeah. And someone
Get a measure
never
of
lets me
revenge from
forget
2020.
Not good on her. It's annoying.
Sure. All right. That at the time was the women's record for longest time in a Rumble match, 1 hour, 1 minute, and 8 seconds for both Liv, and that only lasts for 1. So we'll get to that in a moment. Then in the main event would defeat Kevin Owens to retain the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Usos and Kevin Owens afterwards. The bigger story, of course, comes from that. Roman has a chair, was going to hit KO with it, who was handcuffed to the ropes at that point. Sammy gets in the way, tells Roman this is beneath him. Roman ends up handing the chair over to Sammy, tries to keep telling Sammy to do it. Sammy ends up in Roman Reigns in the back with the chair to end that version of the bloodline time. Jey Uso's over in the corner. He has no idea what to think of all this. Jimmy's beating up Sammy. Sammy ends up getting destroyed by Roman with the chair, and Jey walks off before Roman, Jimmy, and Solo and Paul leave to end the show. Let's put it that way, as the bloodline always had. Interesting way to end the... I always prefer when the Rumbles end the Royal Rumble event, but we went that way. I would say 2023 was one of the better Royal Liv not winning the Rumble match, but I still think it was one of the best.
It was one of the best Royal Rumbles. I mean, Gunther had a wonderful showing. Liv had a great showing. Rhea isn't a bitch, but you know.
All right. Now we go into last year's Royal Rumble. You might deserve it.
I probably do deserve it.
All right. So last year, Tropicana Field, it was actually a year ago yesterday, I believe. this happened? Show for this, of course. I was just looking back. You and Eddie and I, all three wins for the Royal Rumble last year. You were right.
I should have went 4-0, but I decided not to pick Roman.
You're right. You did. That's the one you got wrong. They're not the women's. Which one? Oh, the men's Rumble match was Eddie and I both got wrong. So
I called it Cody.
Yep, you did. So the women's Royal Rumble kicks off the show. We get Natalya, as the number 1 entrant, and the returning Naomi as the number 2 entrant. That was a full year ago now. He as part of Damage Control. The number 5 entrant, of course, then TNA Women's Knockout Champion race, as TNA and NXT's partnering pretty much at that point. It was interesting rewatching this yesterday. Teams kind of got eliminated early on in this, as you've seen Indy eliminated. And then Natalya, of course, got eliminated by Tegan Knox, as Natalya tried to eliminate Tegan, and Tegan got eliminated right afterwards. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing Tegan Knox in the Royal Rumble again. Same for Indy Hartwell. But then you get Kairi Sane and Asuka both eliminated 5 and 6, so he got rid of the Royal Rumble match.
That's some weird booking.
Before Jordan Grace gets eliminated. Right? So I was saying this when I was rewatching. I still want to see Jordan Grace one-on-one with Bianca Belair at some point in time.
I want to see Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley. I think that would be amazing.
That probably would be amazing. Really fun Royal Rumble match, I thought. So I mentioned there was one other person that had 8 eliminable matches. That came in last year's when Nia Jax had 8. Nia Jax, though, in this women's Royal Rumble match. John, I'll let you take that since you mentioned how much you love that spot.
Well, you see, she ran into a storm that has been coming for who knows how long. And Jade Cargill picked her up and dropped her ass outside. And the best part of that was Becky Lynch's reaction.
Eddie says, I think Tegan Knox is going to do great in the out-of-work Rumble this year. And Baron Corbin's going to do the same thing live from Philadelphia in the old ECW arena. Well.
For one night only, right?
Of course. But yes, it was great seeing that reaction from Becky as after Jade eliminated Nia. So when it comes down to it, I'm going to do more than just a 4, because you mentioned this. I personally didn't realize it, and maybe I forgot about it. But Becky Lynch would eventually get eliminated. Technically, it says by Jade and Naomi, because Jade, I think, is the one that dumped her onto the apron. But then Jade had her and turned her, and Naomi ended up kicking Becky and knocked her off the apron to eliminate Becky Lynch as the 24th elimination in the match. And then Naomi afterwards. All right, there's 26. Bianca gets eliminated. Tiffany Stratton got eliminated by Bayley. That leaves us with 3. As Jade, Bayley, and Liv all fight on the outside of the ring on the apron. Kind of Liv manages to hit Oblivion on Jade to knock her out of the ring. And then off the apron, Bayley wins the Women's Royal Rumble match. And sets the all-time record for the Women's Royal Rumble at 1 hour, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. There, Eddie says absolutely they have to wait till April for this. They got to wait till April to do the out-of-work Rumble. Okay. But at least your girl's been the runner-up the last 2 years.
Well, she's only my girl until certain few others get called up. Just let me tell you, Fallon comes up, goodbye. Nikita comes up, goodbye. Stephanie Vacor comes up, see ya.
I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe all 3 of those win in a Royal Rumble match this year.
I would love to see Stephanie Vacor.
We'll see.
I will freak the hell out if she's in the Rumble match.
Right? Called up in Tennessee. I don't feel like, but I could see him doing the Rumble at least.
Yeah.
Right. From the Women's Rumble, where Bayley would go on, of course, to not main event, but she'd go on to WrestleMania, beat Io Sky to win the WWE Women's Championship. And Eddie and I have talked about this on the podcast multiple times. Jelly mentioned it too, but Bayley got shit on the road to WrestleMania because they downplayed that entire feud and rivalry, and she doesn't. Every week you'd hear Cody Rhodes announces the 2. Bayley got nothing. So anyway, they go from that to the Fatal 4-Way match. AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton all champions. In the end, Roman ends up knocking LA Knight back into the ropes that caught AJ Styles, who was going for a phenomenal forearm. Superman punch tonight spirited AJ Styles for Roman Reigns to retain. Although it looked like all 3 of the other men could have won the time points during the match. I mean, LA Knight hit BFT on Roman at one point, only for AJ to break up the pin. They hit the clash on all 3 guys, including Roman last, had Roman pinned, but Solo came out and pulled the rest in a Fatal 4-Way. All before Roman ends up picking up the a really good, again, you mentioned you picked against Roman Reigns, whereas Eddie and I both picked Roman to win. I still feel like Randy should have been the one. But
That's what I'm saying.
That's not what we got. Right? Logan Paul beat Kevin Owens by disqualification in a U.S. title match because Logan with him. Goes for the cover. The referee happens to see the knucks on KO's hand and disqualifies KO for having the knucks on his hand. Leading to KO, Randy, and Logan that Logan would win. Decent match those 2 had, but
which we need to talk about, because that match at that point was between me and Eddie, and with that match, Logan retaining, I won the first shirt competition.
Yes, that did help. I've won both then, but who's counting?
Hey, but we're coming into the Rumble to WrestleMania. I got a title to defend, bud.
All right. That brings us to the Royal Rumble match itself, the men's match. We kick off with the number 1 entrant, main event, Jey Uso. Number 2, of course, his brother, twin brother, Jimmy.
ESPN?
Sure.
That's That's what his music sounds like, the ESPN sound or NFL draft.
Yeah, it does. Right. Um, I'd like to see some TNA superstars show up in the men's rumble. By the way, just putting that out there because we haven't seen that yet. And I think this year is the year that.
I think we're gonna get 4.
3-4.
Yeah,
Oh, you think we're gonna get 4 people from TNA?
I think
Maybe. I know one.
we're definitely gonna get Joe Hendry.
He better.
I've heard rumors that if it starts a certain way, we could see Nick Nemeth.
Will it be Nick Nemeth or
I've
will it be
heard
Dolph
Jeff
Ziggler?
Hardy. I hope it'd be Dolph Ziggler, but I've heard Jeff Hardy,
He's
and last but not least, I've also heard Mustafa.
Ali. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. But we talked about Jay and Jimmy start the match. Grayson Waller comes in number 3. Who cares? Number 4 entrant, of course, the returning Andrade, which was good to see Andrade come out there. It was amazing. I was rewatching it last night, and you see this one lady in the crowd in the front row. Her mouth is open as Andrade's making his entrance to the ring. Like, man, it's but I didn't think it was that mind blowing. We all knew he was
for
gone
ones
from
that don't
AEW.
believe for someone that doesn't listen to rumors or pay attention or is skeptical, yeah, it was a huge thing.
Right, I guess so. NXT,
Not as huge as Edge coming back, but yeah.
right. NXT had 2 representatives in the Rumble. Carmelo Hayes being the first who eliminated Grayson Waller. Ron Breakker would be the second. We'll get into that though. Shinsuke in there. Dirty Dom comes out. Carlito, Bobby Lashley in his last appearance in the Rumble. Eliminate Karrion Kross, only for Karrion Kross to eliminate Lashley right afterwards. AOP get involved. The 6 of those fight leading into their match at Mania. Carlito had issues with Santos Escobar, of course, at the time. Turned his back on the LWO, and Carlito was still part of the LWO. Carlito ended up spitting in the face of Santos and eliminated Santos. Elimination looked pretty good for a brief time he was in there. Eliminated Andrade. He would get eliminated by Omos, though. So here's the spot. I gotta go over this. Breaker enters number 20. Omos enters 1, gets that elimination. The buzzer comes off, and entrant number 22. Let's go! Who to the apron to eliminate himself. Rumor still has it that that spot actually, or that number 22 entrant was actually supposed to be there, of course. But it was for the Royal Rumble event last year that the news broke that Brock Lesnar more than likely involved in this whole Vince McMahon scheme. I won't go too far into, but the extortion and doing certain things that they shouldn't do to ladies. We haven't seen Brock Lesnar since, but that's what originally number 22, Pat, instead gets that spot. I feel like they could have went with somebody different instead of just wasting a spot leave right away.
Yeah, but that wasn't Brock Lesnar's spot though.
No?
No, Braun, because Braun said in an interview,
Oh, yeah, right.
Braun
Braun
was
Breaker.
put in last minute. So you have Dirty Dom eliminate Braun because he was supposed to eliminate Brock, which still mind boggles me.
That's right. How the hell do they have Sonic Mysterio plan to eliminate Brock Lesnar? I mean, we didn't even get a payoff because we haven't seen Braun versus Dom since that either. So
Yeah.
but anyway, of course, this match is where Drew would hit the Future Shock DDT on CM, his tricep. Not long after Drew got into the match, a little while after. But we get down to the final four. Drew, Punk, Rhodes, and Gunther. And Drew gets eliminated first by CM Punk with the GTS to the floor. Gunther, I think Cody Rhodes is kind of Gunther's kryptonite in a way, because Cody would eliminate Gunther again. Also, Cody, of course, later last year would beat Gunther in the champion versus champion match in Saudi. So, like I said, I think Cody's Gunther's kryptonite, if you will.
Oh yeah.
And then Punk and Rhodes had a decent match. Again, like you said, with Gunther and Rhodes the year before, kind of reminiscent of 2007's between Taker and Shawn. I think it might have went longer if Punk wouldn't have been, but it still was pretty up to ending up rewatching it again. You can't forget the spot. CM Punk mentioning going to get eliminated or get beaten by Dusty's. So, and of course, that kind of bit him in the ass. Eliminate CM Punk to win the Royal Rumble. 6 years, we have back-to-back Royal Rumble match winner in the American Nightmare, Cody. Of course, as Cody wins the Rumble, he points up to Roman Reigns, and we think, hey, end the story. Of course, as the week progresses, we find out, no, Cody's at WrestleMania to The Rock. We're going to get Rock and Roman, only for everything to pivot and the crowd getting the "We want Cody" everywhere is on social media and in the crowd. Instead, we get Cody versus Roman in the main event of WrestleMania. Cody and Seth versus Roman and Rock at night one. I was watching the WrestleMania Behind the Curtain last night. I don't know if I believe everything that they claim on there, but interesting way that they got to Cody versus Roman anyways. In the long run.
Well, the thing I find ironic about that whole situation. So 2024, the people pretty much put Cody back into the main event. Oh, where have I seen this before? It's like 2014 all over again with Yesamania.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way. To answer your earlier question about Liv Morgan in the 2019 Royal Rumble, so she lasted 3 more seconds than what Chelsea and Valhalla did.
Alrighty then. But still, a Riot Squad member is in there.
Yeah. So now, for many, it was number 27 that had the most winners out of the Royal Rumble. That has changed. 30 spot is now has the most winners in a Royal Rumble match with 5 people winning from.
Undertaker, John
Yep.
Cena,
Yep.
Cody.
You're forgetting one.
I'm going back
Triple
through.
H.
All right, that's 4.
Yep. I got it in my other notebook. I also got it right here. Okay, where's number
Brock
3?
Lesnar.
Yep. Two years in a row. Number 30 entrant one. In 2016, Triple H, and in 2022 was Brock Lesnar. In 2023, it's 3 people that have won from number 1. Rick Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Sorry, there's 4 because
the Wolverine.
Yep.
Yep.
3 that have won from number 24 as well from the men.
From number 3?
From number 24. 3 people from number
24. My bad.
No, Ric Flair is still the only man to enter number 3.
Okay. Why do I feel like one of the 24s was Triple H?
I made a list. So number 24 was Hulk Hogan in his second Rumble win. Stone Cold Steve Austin in his second Rumble. Triple H won from number 22 and number 30.
So did Sheamus.
Yep. Triple H and Sheamus are the only 2 that have won from for the men. Well, altogether, actually. Alberto Del Rio is the only one that's ever won from the number 38 position.
Yeah, that's never going to happen again.
Yeah, and then Braun Strowman is the only one that's ever won from the number 41 position. Yet either. They got Stone Cold with 3 Royal Rumble match wins. And
although we have a roster now that would make sense for a 40 and a 50.
True. More so than what it did back then. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin with 3 Royal Rumble match wins, and then you got 9 other Royal Rumble. Hulk Hogan won it in 1991.
Shawn Michaels.
Yep, 95, 96. 02 and 2016.
Cody.
Yeah, last year in 23.
Batista.
Huh?
Batista.
Yep, 20. Yep.
Randy.
Yep, 2009 and 2017.
Brock Lesnar.
2003 and 2022.
Edge.
2010, 2021. You're missing one.
There's 1, 2.
Do 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 do.
Oh shit! I couldn't
John
see him.
Cena, 2008. It was like
Damn,
really,
Fruity Pebbles.
the man I even the show started needed to win this year so he could tie Austin.
Yeah.
Well, we know Cody's not going to do what nobody, even though Stone Cold should have done it. That's win 3.
I mean, you never know. He could enter in as a champion.
He could, but I doubt it.
Or he could lose the title to KO and then enter in.
I mean, we have seen that happen before. People in title matches and then. So I will say 2023 and 2024 are probably 2 of my favorite Royal Rumbles. Still to this day, at least 2007 is still my favorite Royal Rumble match. So. It's not necessarily because of the star power that was in it. Just it was, in my opinion, still the best finish to a Royal Rumble match. Just the final, but also the Final 4 did it. All right. Well, with that, Eddie hasn't said nothing in almost half an hour. He didn't put his 2 cents worth in any of those. Oh. Anything else you want to say previous Royal Rumbles before I hype up next?
Nah.
All right. Those have been 38 Royal Rumbles? 37, 38, whichever. Anyway, this Saturday, of course, 6 p.m. Eastern Time will be this year's Royal Rumble match on February 1st. God, I hate saying that. I'm glad we're not going to say that next year. It'll go back to January.
Oh, we're going to be saying Saudi next year, which is even worse.
Yeah, that'll be terrible. We have 15 men that have the men's Royal Rumble so far, 10 that have the women's. A lot of spots open for both, really. Be interesting because it's star-studded men's, especially this year. It'll be John Cena's last Royal Rumble. We know that much. Punk's in there looking at Rollins, Drew, all those guys that are looking for. We plan on doing our prediction. So we decided at 4 o'clock on air for that. So if you don't want to sit and watch that stupid count up everything, come and watch us talk about the you expect to see instead. Here on Tiger Talks Wrestling. And then what they show on the WWE countdown show anyways, I'm sure.
Oh, well,
and then we'll probably do a watch
points.
We got to figure out what all we're going to do for bonus points, whether we're going to do the same or something different this year. But we'll do a watch along. John does have to be there for the entire thing, but Eddie and I will probably be there for the entire Royal Rumble event doing a watch along. So we will catch you guys on Saturday. This has been Tiger Talks Wrestling's Royal Rumble Retrospective.